up, everybody? How you doing? It is a wacky Wednesday here on Disruption Network. You could follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms. We're live on YouTube, live on Twitch, live on Facebook, and then we're going to wrap this all up in a nice little podcast that you can listen to at your discretion, at your leisure, at disruptionnetwork.net. Much love to my sponsors. Thank you to Eddie over at EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, you want to move your business, you want to move your office, you want to move your grandmother, you want to move your husband, you want to move whatever, have my boy Eddie and his crew at EJA Moving do all the moving for you. Let them break their backs. Instead of you breaking your back, let them break their backs for you, because they do that stuff. It's amazing. They'll bring you pretty much anywhere you want to go. They give you free boxes. They pack up your boxes, and they bring them anywhere. They're awesome. 315-335-0516, EJAmoving.com. Shout out to my attorney, Dave Longaretto, who's been my attorney since the 90s. 315-735-6162 if you need some legal advice. Oh, let me tell you something, people. This peanut butter coffee that I'm drinking, it's peanut butter cup coffee from Utica Coffee. It's delicious. And I'm not really one for a flavored coffee, but this one, fantastic. Go check them out, wakethehellup.com, Utica Coffee. Shout out to Saranac, and also big shout out to my friend Matt Grabsky over at Joey's at 307 on Mohawk Street. You want a delicious meal this weekend, people? Go over there, check out their amazing dinner menu. Always got some seafood dishes, classic Italian dishes, good lunch specials, too. Tell them Uncle Z sent you. A guy that I've been running with since, oh, God, man, I'm trying to think. Will, what year did we first meet each other? Will Bradford from the Seepeople'S on with me today. What year did we first meet? Was it 2000 or 99?
I think honestly it was 2001.
Okay.
One or two. Yeah. And it
you
was
know
probably,
better than me.
No, it's all good. Because that was when I met the Jug Band. So.
Gotcha.
Maybe 2002.
Gotcha.
If I remember correctly. Yeah.
I think it was 01, actually, now that I think about it, because I remember that album, your album coming across my radar, and dude, we rocked your first album for what's the name? The Nation?
For the Good of the Nation.
For the Good of the Nation, thank you. We rocked that for years, and it's still on one of my playlists, as well as Corn Syrup Conspiracy as well, too. Two of my favorite albums, brother.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. 2001. So you came across, I remember Chris Sanford putting you on my radar, and he's like, you have to have them. We want them to open up for us here in Utica. And sure enough, the Seepeople'S did, and it's been nothing but a brotherhood, man.
Yeah. I think we slept, if I remember, we slept on your stage as well. That might have been the second or third time maybe we came back, actually.
Yeah.
It's a big blur at this point, isn't it?
Yes, as I like to refer to them as hashtag my blackout years.
My blackout years, yeah. That's good.
We had a bunch of those, man. So how you been, man? It's great to see you. How you been holding up throughout this Corona coaster?
It's been nuts. It's I had back surgery, so I was kind of laid out anyway. But aside from that, yeah, I mean, it was going from I don't know, 150 shows a year to zero sucks immensely. But at the same token, like we were, I don't know, gave us more time to like record, so in a weird way, just as busy, busy doing something, equally awesome, as far fulfilling is a better word, equally fulfilling.
What a good time to have back surgery, though, throughout this Corona coaster, so it doesn't affect your work schedule, really, because, again, here you are out 150 days, sometimes 200 days a year. You for a while there, bro, you were a road warrior, and that was the way you earned your money.
It got worse once the worst started touring, which, then two bands now, so the worst has been touring for about half a decade now, and then definitely right before COVID, a little harder. So yeah, I mean, it was I'd get back from one run and get right back and go go out again, get confused when I'd pass the same roads, roadside stops, but going in the other direction, especially in New York, where they're all owned by the same three dudes.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely monopoly going on in this state.
John Sparrow, guy who owns the I Love New York t-shirts. He's making a killing up there.
No doubt. Is it rough juggling two bands?
You know, no, no. If you do it the right way, I mean, for a while I took when the worst first started hitting it hard. I did two. I had them out opening for Seepeople'S on two West Coast tours, which was great because Seepeople'S does pretty well out there, and so it was great for the worst. It was it was kind of nice getting paid a little bit more too to do two sets, but yeah, I mean it was it's exhausting. So
Yeah.
uh, and I play bass with the worst. They're not my songs. They're Brooke Binion's songs. So it's a different role anyway, which I love, which is the best part. And I believe in the songs. I believe in music. So it's been a blast.
It takes the pressure off you a little bit.
Oh, it's just 100% completely different show. And Brooke and I did this years ago with Free People's Frequency, which is an electronic music project that we toured out with a while in the extra blackout years, I guess. Hashtag extra blackout years. And I love that too because that was not singing, and I sing backup in the worst, but I'm not the singer. So it's fun to play a show and take it in differently than you do when you're sort of leading the charge, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like the worst is a little bit more of you digging back into your roots, right? A little more punk rock and a little more heavier.
Yeah, I mean it is. I haven't played in a heavy band. I mean, since ever, really. So it's yeah. I mean, it's the first time I've really, I mean, Seepeople'S gets pretty heavy at times, but not like the worst,
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, it's fun. I get to do a lot of things. Kind of like a '90s revival with music going on a little bit. So it's kind of fun to go in there and draw from those inspirations and bring some of that decade back into this decade because it was such a great musical decade.
No
I
doubt.
still think maybe one of the best ever.
No doubt. How does the Seepeople'S get pigeonholed into the jam band community? Because I never really considered you guys a jam band, but
Yeah.
you kind of did fall into that jam band, and there's way too many genres out there. I mean, to me, if it's good music or bad music, but there's too many genres out there. And how did you get pigeonholed into that jam band community?
I don't know if we are anymore.
Right, okay.
I mean, honestly, to be fair enough, the band does less and less big psychedelic music festivals like we used to, and then we certainly do them. So you know what I mean. We're just I don't think the people that really run that scene really do think of us in that scene really. And to be honest, certainly in the last and especially since we released that New American Dream video, which is a punk song,
right?
But no, these days, we're really not. I'd say we if you come out to see the band, you're probably going to see a young punk band open up for us, or something a little bit more in that vein, or something weird. But no, less and less these days, which is weird because I'm still a hippie. You know what I mean?
Deep down inside, right? That's part of your fabric.
I'm an extra jaded hippie. That's just like you're the same way. You're exactly the same way.
I'm a full metal hippie.
Yeah, full metal hippie, heavy metal hippie.
That's it. I'm a full metal hippie. Yeah. Because I always felt like you guys were more of an indie rock band, but then here you are playing on the psychedelic festival circuit at the same time. There was a little bit of a contrast there, but you definitely found your way throughout the industry. I feel like, I mean, just by touring as much as you did and just being out there and putting yourself out there as much as you did.
Yeah, you get them one at a time. It's a little slower, but you can whenever you get the in-person experience, it's always a connection that's more meaningful and generally turns into, I'd say, lasting fanship. But the reality of it is, if they're a fan of Seepeople'S, it's pretty much a friend. Probably know them.
Well, you've built a lot of friendships throughout the years.
Yeah, I'm a few hugs in. We're good.
Man, but you have created some controversy with the Seepeople'S. Your video got banned, right? Didn't American Dream get banned?
Yeah, they took it off. It was 1 week after because I was trying to think the last time I was on this podcast was probably before that.
Yeah, it's a couple of years ago.
It's been a hot minute, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we woke up one day. Our manager at the time too woke up. We all had like deletion notifications. The video was taken off, which at the time was a bit of a bummer because we were kind of about to get that million stream mark. It had a ton of great views and a ton of great positive, super happy people, but it also had a ton of angry and very upset people who reported the band thousands of times. But yeah, and it's funny. Only until literally a few days ago, I'd never known of another band that it had happened to ever. And I actually found one. It was kind of weird. One of my friends texted me and they were like, "Oh my God." And sure enough, that same time period, a super conservative band, totally different ideological background, they had their video essentially taken off for the same reason, whether I agree with their video or not, whatever, but, I definitely don't agree with it needlessly getting taken off. You know what I mean? Like, but it has nothing to do with content. It's all algorithms
and butthurt people.
Butthurt people, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them were pretty I mean, we got a few death threats that were pretty solid.
Really?
A few. Yeah, oh yeah.
That's strong, bro.
Most of them were kind of half-assed, to be honest. But a couple went the whole way. One guy had sent me a picture of him gunning down all the Seepeople'S records with his machine gun.
Oh my God!
Which is great because that's like 8 records. So I don't know. I was like, probably like $95, or maybe like $42 because most of those records are probably in the bargain bins at this point. But either way, you know what I mean? Like, still, like, you know what I mean? I made something off that transaction.
So they bought your albums just to shoot it up with a machine gun. That's interesting.
Yeah,
but what I mean by it, that's strong that you're tugging on the emotions of these people, that they're actually sending you death threats. That means, bro, that's a job well done. Think about that. You have to look at it at the other side, like you're tugging on the emotions of these people so bad that you frustrate them so bad that they actually want to come after you and form harm on you. Like, that's good job, brother.
It's weird, and everybody says that, but I'll be totally honest. Even with that video, which even though it had Trump in it, there's no doubt, and it said some things, but Obama was in that video too. I bet.
Right.
Pete is the guy who made that. Pete List he's a real, he's a true artist in every sense of the word. But making that video was great because we spent hours talking about the political leaders which essentially there's political leaders from every major party in most major countries of the last 150 years in that video. So
right.
The idea was honestly really, nothing. Absolute power corrupts absolutely nothing. It was not reinventing any wheels. It was a pretty blanket statement, and I was actually hoping that some of those people would actually see it,
right,
and not immediately get turned off that just because Trump was in it and was one of those people. There were John F. Kennedy's the first politician in that video, you know what I mean, Democrat. So the idea was really to try and kind of unite, I guess, and sort of readjust that narrative to kind of be like, no, it's us and them, and they, these people make money by ruling over us and having us fight. The more we fight, these are all one and the same. So I was honestly hoping to unite people with that. It did not have the desired.
No, you ignited people.
It made people wicked mad.
You didn't unite, you ignited. But people
times.
They just get so butthurt over every little thing. And again, you're making the point in that video that it's a right wing, left wing, same bird principle, and people just are so wrapped up into the other side, blaming each other, going back and forth with the blame game that goes on in our political spectrum, that people can't really see what you were trying to put out there. And it's a shame, man, that people don't have an open mind like that. And that's what's going on in this world, the portal of dumb that we have gone down, and people just don't have an open mind, and they just have blinders on, and unfortunately,
They're getting blasted too. I get it. I hate because I hate to belittle those people because honestly they're my friends, they're my family. We all
Right. Yeah,
we all
I hear
got
you,
them,
brother.
and
We
the
all
more
got
they
them.
get belittled and judged, the farther you push them away.
True.
So I mean, it's always my whole thing is like I always like to just remind people that like whoever they is, they make a lot more money when we fight with each other.
Yep.
Like they make a lot more profit when with division, and even guys like McConnell, he loves division because he knows it too. He knows that in the division is where they get their inches and it's where they get their feet and where they
Power.
essentially power, so so really it's the age old thing. Well, whatever. Preaching to the choir, but you know what I mean.
Well, dude, you were preaching this stuff back in 2004, even maybe even before that in the first album. Of course, in the first album, too, it's very politically, you were taking a political stance there. But back in 2004, when Corn Syrup Conspiracy comes out, and in The Butcher, like, is a great freaking song. It just kind of talks about what you just mentioned. And, like, here we are, how many years later, and we're still in that fucking mud pit.
Yeah, I know. Well, I remember back then I was like, it could never be worse than George Bush.
Right.
Dummy George.
Yeah.
Couldn't be worse.
Guess what?
Little did we, But even in 2016, I was coming back. We were on tour that whole year. I was on tour like the whole year because Worst was on tour that year, all year too. And everywhere I went, which was all over the country, probably 2 to 3 times, essentially. Trump signs were everywhere, and I was already coming back, and I told people he's going to get elected, and people were like, oh, what are you out of your mind? I was like, no, absolutely not, and I won't be surprised, like those people out there were left out to dry, you know what I mean, and yeah, they were pissed, so the anger was real, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like if you discount their opinions to the point you get to the point where you discount the reasons why they got mad, right, and why these kind of movements start in the first place, you know what I mean? The stuff they latch onto is just the fuel, it's like,
and fear,
how they get riled up. It's all fear,
it's all based on fear.
It is.
We're all a bunch of scared Americans. We're all just, Anyways, let's get off that subject, though. Especially throughout this Corona coaster, man. Have you been writing music? Have you been inspired to write? Because you've always been politically charged in a lot of your music, whether it's on either side, whatever. You've always been down the middle, independent. But have you been writing actively throughout this Corona coaster?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could you not? I mean, I feel like it's been one of those amazing moments, and history will remember it just because of the fact that we all kind of had a shared human experience, still having it, all dealing with it in our own ways. I don't know if good or bad is even a way to describe how we are all dealing with it. More just but so yeah. I mean, I think you had a lot of minds wake up. So no, I think for as challenging a period as this has been financially, for sure, and all that sorts of stuff. No, I think it's been equally a beautiful moment. So yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of other people that have been kind of on fire lately because of it too.
Yeah, you're right about that, brother. You are right about that. Have you been taking up new hobbies throughout all this?
No.
Have you been doing anything new? No, nothing. Well, probably because you're back too, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, I really don't. I'm pretty happy doing what I do, so I pretty much just do that. I do go. I spend a lot of time on the water in the summer, so that would be my hobby. I go sailing. You want to come sailing with me sometimes? You can come sailing.
I would love to. Can we, as long as we can listen to yacht rock the whole time we're sailing?
Listen to whatever we want. You have to listen to yacht rock on a yacht.
Like Christopher Cross,
even if it's a 21-foot Cape Dory.
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
No, it's good, man. You got to keep active and whatnot. But how about, are you still booking? Well, obviously, what's Maine like right now? You're in Portland, Maine. What's that? Is it open right now? What's the whole deal with Corona?
Not really. It's not. I mean, I just booked a couple shows for the bands. Worst has some shows. I can't announce them yet. But not here, though. Not in Maine. in other states that are about to get announced. Maine is kind of still shut down, although there's outdoor stuff happening. So, but I think by the fall, you know what I mean? That's kind of where, New Hampshire opened up a little quicker. And then from what I've heard, Vermont is going to be even slower. I don't know where you guys are at out there, but I do have a lot of offers for the southern United States right now. I will say that. Seepeople'S has a bunch of offers that are no restrictions, no masks, no nothing. So,
might be tooling around Florida for a little while.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet, honestly. Maybe soon, but that's all right. I still don't think everything's back to normal though. They're not doing it'll be a little bit, I think, before you see a crammed club of sweaty people in this country.
It's going to be a while. Hey, bro, I've been checking out Eric Krasno's new podcast, and yesterday he had Nikki Gillespie on, who's a great friend of both of ours, man. Talk about what it was like working with her, because I know you've done some studio work with her. The girl is just a freaking monster.
She is the definition of monster. I mean, the Nth Power record that I produced, which will come out someday.
Well, she talked about it in the podcast.
Huh?
She talked about it in Krasno's podcast.
Oh, she did? Oh, okay. Well, then maybe it is finally going to come out then.
Well, she had mentioned that the Nth Power's going to have new music out really soon. So
yes,
she did mention that.
It is. I mean, it's fantastic stuff. It was recorded over a long period of time too. It's been a while, but you know how things go. But so doing that with her was unbelievable, and she did some tracks for The Worst as well, and actually for Seepeople'S as well. I'm also working with a project called Sparksy, so she did some drum. She's done a bunch of drums for me. No, it's like just maybe most unbelievable musician I've ever even been in the same room with.
No doubt.
She's an unbelievable singer.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, she just dropped her solo rap debut, which I don't know if she was pitching that, but
yeah, she was.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, she made a whole record on her iPhone, which is a great concept because the whole thing is she does a lot of charity work with underprivileged children and children that definitely don't have the access or funding to be able to buy huge amounts of recording equipment and stuff like that. So kind of on a mission with her new record to kind of show you can make music with things that you have, which in this case is a phone, which most of them do have access to. So no, she's a real angel too.
No doubt.
You'd love her. She's a big football fan.
I know.
She knows her sports, man.
Yes, she does. Basketball. That's what her and I would talk about a lot when we do basketball conversation.
She knows it good. Yeah.
But yeah, she's out there killing it, and definitely interested in hearing that Nth Power record when it comes out.
Yeah, it's been nice because Nate, who is also the bass player for that band, he's been doing a lot of stuff. He's actually done the new Seepeople'S single. That's Nate from Nth Power on the bass. On that
Nate Eggers on bass there.
Yeah. So he's been just making a lot of music essentially. Basically me and my buddies, we just were like, let's make a ton of music, and just been sort of dropping singles because nobody really is. Everybody wants to tour behind a record, so it's just I don't know, not quite there with the full records.
Yeah, not too many people are putting full records out. Speaking of which, man, you always have this big pond to fish out of when it comes to musicians. I mean, I feel like every time you just can pull another one out and another one out. I mean, where do you find these people? Here you are playing with Pete, who used to play in Skinner and Nth Power and all these other people.
Still plays with Skinner, yeah.
You've been surrounded by some great musicians throughout your career, man.
Yeah, I think it's luck. I mean, I don't know, luck really. I mean, Pete's on the next Seepeople'S record. He's got a fantastic solo record on the way. I think you dig some of the stuff Pete's putting out right now. It's kind of like psychedelic Dr. John meets Prince. It's something like that, because he was in P-Funk for all those years, so he's got all those. He's one of the funkiest keys players you'll ever meet, and he doesn't quite get to funk out so much with Leonard Skinner, but
yeah, right. And you've played with a lot of great people though throughout the years, and then who's the guy from Morphine too, right? Is that didn't you do a bunch of stuff with him?
Dana is, well, he just did that track with the worst, also on the next Seepeople'S record. So all these cats and friends really, looking at it, all kind of revolve around that sort of Boston, New England scene of the late '90s, early 2000s. Certainly Will Holland at Chill House, which is where I do all the Seepeople'S stuff, and the Power Track there too. Edgar's done countless recordings out of that, Dana as well, and that whole circle. So essentially all these people, are just long-term friends essentially. That was actually the great thing about COVID, was essentially, most of the time, every one of these people's on their separate tours, and we'll occasionally get to play together, or if we're in the studio together for a quick minute or whatever. But rarely, is it like, yeah, man, like I'll send you a bunch of tunes. He's like, got a bunch of time, cool. It's not usually the case. So, I was like, oh, well, take the opportunity. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of other people on the next Seepeople'S record that I'm gonna wait to not announce, but all the friends plus helped me out on this one, so
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Do you plan on doing more visuals, more videos too when you get this?
Yeah. So Pete is halfway done with the next Seepeople'S video. Pete List, who's that's the guy, animator who used to do work on Celebrity Deathmatch, who did that New American Dream video that got banned.
Yep.
Pete is about halfway done. He's been working on it for about a year. But yeah, I mean, he is. Yeah, I can't wait for people to see that video. And then we just shout out to Jack Powell, who just did the video that we just released, animated video. And Jack is like a musician himself. He goes by Hot Mustard. He's actually releasing a record under. You might remember these guys. You probably like these guys. Eddie Roberts, New Master Sounds. The New Master Sounds.
Yeah, I was with them in Jamaica, actually.
Yeah, so he has a record label called Color Red. Does a lot of soul funk kind of stuff, instrumental stuff like that. Hot Mustard and Jack Powell, who's the brother of Nth Power's ex-manager. So get an idea of that. Still within the circle, but he did a great job on the video. But his album's coming out in a couple months, and I think he's got some guys from Antibalas on it too. So it's cool stuff.
Lots of cool stuff. It sounds like you're
lucking out working with some cool people right now.
Yeah, amazing. And for somebody who's sitting around, recouping from back surgery, you sound like you got a lot going on, brother.
Yeah, I did. Waiting for the back surgery, I probably pushed it. I learned how to hobble, so I still did a decent amount even waiting for the surgery, which much to the chagrin of my doctors. But yeah, too much to do.
That's you not being able to sit still for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. You fidgety motherfucker, you.
Yeah.
Hey, Will, give me a good pinch me moment. Like, I can't believe I'm in this moment right now. Dealing in your music
career. All-time moments?
Yeah, a couple of. If you got a couple of them, throw them at me.
Oh, I have so many.
Good, throw them at me. Mm-hmm.
Well, honestly, my last pinch me moment is not a musical moment, but I feel like you might know this guy and appreciate it. But Seepeople'S down at South by Southwest. I guess this was 2-3 years ago, and we played our set, and we were walking towards to go see a buddy of mine in Thievery Corporation, but it was 23 blocks away, and we're like, we're never gonna make it. So we just sat down on the side of the street, what are we gonna do now? And this guy just comes out. He's like, I got 2 front seats to Doug Stanhope's filming right now, front row. You gonna come in and watch it? I was like, Doug Stanhope was my favorite ever.
Yeah.
Comedian. So so I was like, I'll come in and watch it. And whatever, long night, and ended up sort of meeting his camp. And so fast forward a little bit, a couple months after that, I was able to get Doug to come up and come to Portland and do a show. And of course hang out with him, which I met a lot of cool people in my day, but I was pretty fanboy. I probably couldn't even hide it. You know what I mean?
It's something
pretty starstruck.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. It's something I talk a lot about too. Like here we work in the music industry. We don't get starstruck by the rock stars. We've been around the biggest and the baddest, but I get starstruck around like the athletes, the sports stars, and maybe like the actors and actresses, depending on the level that they're in. And Doug Stanhope, I'd probably fanboy out on him too.
I met Terry Jones a couple years ago too. There's only been a few people that have really made me just sort of, and I did. I met Terry Jones in Oxford, England, and he was speaking at Oxford, and I missed the thing, and I ran there, and I was with my kid, and I kind of thought I saw him, so I whispered, I was like, Terry. He turned right around. I was like, oh my god! And he was super nice and like talked to me and talked to my kid, who at the time was still not. I guess this is a little while ago, but he was maybe not young enough to quite appreciate who we were meeting. I'm a huge Monty Python fan, so essentially to me that was meeting a Beatle. And I did. He was like, try to talk to me. I'm Monty Python. I don't know. That was a good pitch me moment. And then, since he died recently.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He did. I think maybe right before COVID. I can't remember actually. Yeah,
that's a good one too. Hey, Terry.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's the secret.
Yeah.
In case you ever know, that's the secret. Everybody, especially the big ones, are always used to getting yelled at. You know what I mean? But if you just like whisper. I did that once in a restaurant with Brett Favre. He turned around, but I didn't really want to talk to him. So I pretended I didn't say it. But I just wanted to know it was him, and it was.
You've had this amazing journey on this career. You've been all over the place, and I can't tell you how many miles you probably have on your vehicles throughout the years. But up and coming bands, what kind of advice do you give up and coming bands? Because I know you do mentor a lot of bands and people who are there younger musicians and whatnot. But what kind of advice do you give them?
Yeah, my unofficial mentoring ships.
You do. You should start a course.
Because it's tough out there, And when you can tell that, especially with bands, which bands are kind of unpopular these days too now.
True.
I don't know if you've heard the word. It's not as cool to be in a band. You know what I mean? Which is that's where we're at. Probably social media got us to the point where it's not that cool to go and do like cool stuff with your friends in person. But so. What I usually tell them is socks. If you're going on your first tour, pack 4
You're
times
the one that
socks.
told me that.
Yeah,
I've been trying to figure that out.
Every single one of them was like, "Yeah, you were right, dude." I'm like,
you were the one that told me that.
Oh yeah. I am ashamed to say that
I'm having a flashback.
Dirty socks at a few club green rooms in the day. Maybe at yours too, Z.
Probably. Well, I remember having this conversation with you.
Yeah,
and you're like, every time before I go out on the road, I always grab a fresh package of socks. It's very important to have clean socks with you when you're on the road. And I kept that with me. And I would do the same thing. I'd go out and buy brand new socks before I go hit the road. And you were right. So thank you for that.
It's serious business. It is serious business. It really is. But it is that hard. So I do like when especially when I see like younger bands and all they need is like a little bit of guidance once in a while. I am always happy to tell them what little I know. I don't certainly don't claim to know that much, but a few things like socks.
Hey, listen, kid, go out and buy yourself a brand new package of socks. You'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
Solid advice.
Yeah, focus on the socks. I mean, it's boring, right? I don't even know what's gonna exist after this for a while. It's gonna be interesting because it could be the greatest live music revival of all time. It also might just be a different scene in the sense that a lot of clubs closed. It takes a lot to even make a tour happen in the first place. And having towns that have less clubs means less options for routing. There's a lot of things I don't think people, the big acts and big agents and big places, they'll operate the same, if not crush more, I'm sure. But it's going to be interesting to see how the smaller, mid-sized sort of rooms do. And I'm hopeful that it'll be like the greatest revival ever. You know what
I
I mean?
agree.
Like I'm just not sure it will happen when and as quickly as people may want it to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Please let it be a slingshot of popularity.
I am hoping. I'm not banking on it, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God, I feel pretty cooped up. You know what I mean? Like, how more Netflix and chillings does everybody need after COVID? You know what I mean? Like, can we like Netflix and unchill and un-Netflix for a hot minute?
Yeah. How about chill when you go watch one of your favorite bands? That's the best way to do it. Let's start getting that.
Yeah.
Let's get that phrase out there instead of Netflix.
To be fair,
and chill.
though, it's equally important, and I think that everyone obviously is excited to see shows and stuff like that. Duh. And for some people, like, it's entire social scenes. I think I can personally think of some people that probably haven't been laid in like this entire time just because they just couldn't adjust to a different social thing of any kind. Really, that was what they did. But I also think it's, and I've been saying it to young bands as well. You know what I mean? Is like part of what happened with live music before COVID went and kicked its butt is we were kind of kicking its butt on our own.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point where there's so many bands, and some of them may just not spend as much time rehearsing and may not quite put in the kind of work that you should before you sort of get on stage. So you kind of had this thing where it's like, yeah, we got to go see Todd's band. Oh, what time do they go on? What time can we leave? You know what I mean? Like, and I get it, because a lot of Todd's bands out there are not killing it. They didn't, so I hope that people kind of get back to like realizing, not just that the people realize and the fans and audience realize how special the stage is. I'm hoping that musicians that play on the stage also kind of may have gotten once it's taken away, and have a little look and be like, wow, this really is a special place. And you think, what an awkward thing. You guys sit over there, face me, I'll stand up here looking right at you, you know what I mean? And we're just going to face each other all night, and somehow we're going to have fun. It's a weird thing. So it's like, if you're going to do it, like, treat the stage with respect. If you're going to take people's time, if you're going to take people's money, put on a great show. You know what I mean? Like spend that extra time putting your show together or whatever, you know what I mean? Even if it's, blow up dolls and, darts or something, whatever. It's, spend some time making something that makes it so that people remember how awesome live music is, and like everybody's pumped to see Todd's band again or whatever. You know what I mean? Who's Todd? I don't know, but I'd love to see his band. You know what I mean? That's what
I need music.
I need music. So yeah, like I hope that happens again. And I am hopeful, not banking on that to be the case, but I'm hopeful that yeah, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of bands, musicians, artists right now that were like, did take the opportunity, kind of like, I'm gonna up my game. You know what I mean? Even Nikki, who's like, I'm gonna learn how to record stuff more, and like really spend a lot of time engineering, because she had to do a lot of at-home recording. Everybody. So I feel like, I feel like the shows are going to be awesome when they do come back. You know what I mean? So I hope we carry that.
Yeah.
Momentum.
Are you hip to any of this NFT revolution that's going on right now?
Starting to be. It's interesting. That was actually the conversation I had before this podcast. Yes, I am starting to. Ironically, Peter Keys is the one that really is getting me more hip to it, and I do have a guy who's sort of helping me with that right now. I don't know. It's I get it. It's a strange concept to me, but then again, I've never been like a big fan of capitalism. So, but it sure makes sense. You know what I mean? I mean, people want to own something. It's value and ownership comes in all sorts of different ways and is constantly being redefined. So,
yeah,
I am hip to the idea that it does look like it could provide a possible real revenue stream to artists. And I think if you look at it, to have something that you can sell as an NFT, I suppose it does need to be something of value, so that I suppose that puts it back on the artist to make something of value, that would have an intrinsic value, whether it's a super fan or it's a whatever, you know what I mean? And so I get it, that it's a way for a person that has that passion for an art to essentially own a piece of it, you know what I mean?
The kids these days love the exclusivity. Like they want to be the only owner of this. And that actually, it changes the playing field too, especially for a lot of these bands. Like you made mention, it opens up a whole new revenue stream for bands. And not only up a whole new revenue stream, but a lot of these bands are banking off these NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's not just with music either. I mean, I'm full disclosure. We're looking into it as with the New American Dream video right now. To be honest with you, it's it is on record as being the first video banned by Facebook post Cambridge Analytica. So it's got, I guess, some as who knows.
There you go,
that
bro.
Has value to somebody. So I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced on it, to be totally honest, but I do have people right now speaking words in my ears, and I definitely, you'd be stupid if you're trying to do it in this business not to consider and certainly look into it.
Right.
Probably sooner than later, before it becomes ruined.
Right. You have to have that open mind and accept, the change in the way the world is working nowadays, and just kind of, evolve with all the changes. And the NFT revolution that's going on right now, that's definitely evolving into this whole new world kind of currency that we're all falling into now with like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff. But it kind of just all falls right into that too. And also it's kind of like a fuck you to the man too on the currency side of things too. Our dollar ain't worth shit anymore. It's not worth anything. They just keep printing more and printing more and printing more. So it
has huge ramifications, especially when you modern currency is really still based in nationalism. You know what I mean? Like the strength of your currency is completely in relativity to the strength of your nation and your nation's financial state and whatnot. And so with some of these things, it sort of does hint at a world beyond nationalism, beyond where the currencies are not, basically so reliant on politics, essentially. So that's a whole big can of worms.
Yeah, especially when you're not out touring and making money off the tours or your merchandise and whatnot. It just, here you go, develop this NFT. And I like Kings of Leon, they banked on their NFT. They gave away an exclusive cartoon with a brand new album and posters, designs and stuff. And one person, they paid $2 million for it or something, however much, I don't know how much they paid for it, but it was in the millions.
A lot.
And that's your super fan. Those are the people that you want on your mailing list, and they want you want to be in touch with, because they're the ones that are actually feeding your mouths.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's really what it's kind of all about. If you're really trying to make a career in the music industry, that's really what it's all about. It has nothing to do with like the booking agents and all the whatevers and all the,
or what you sound like
stuff. It has to do with honestly, it has to do with the connection you have with the people that listen and basically consume your art.
Right.
So I mean, that's, there's bands that I absolutely detest that have some of the most loyal fan bases on the planet and that will fight for them, to the death.
Yeah.
And so, in the end, they did whatever band that was. I won't mention them because we don't need to.
I know what you're talking about.
But great. You know what I mean? Like that's what's important, is essentially the connection that you make with that. So essentially, if you're able to make a connection with somebody who's able to afford that and gain something from it, go for it.
Go for it for sure.
Yeah.
Will, is there anything you'd like to see stick around after Corona is over with?
Well, that's a really good question, Z. Jeesh. Gosh, I don't know. That's such a tough one. I mean, I would like to see. It's hard. I don't even know yet, because I don't think we're past coronavirus yet, so I don't know if I can accurately say what's still good. I mean, I think that some people have definitely, been feeling inclined to help and to actually do things in their community. I know there's a humongous uptake, and I do a lot of charity work, so this is kind of a world that I just started a nonprofit record label actually. So this is kind of a world that I'm now in, and yeah. So I mean, essentially, even with what that's called Communities Records, and we're actually dropping. I'll announce it here exclusively. The first big single, we already dropped a war single, but the first single coming up is actually involves Nikki Gillespie. So Tim, my good buddy Tim Reynolds, donated a song, and Nikki played on it. So it's a bona fide Nikki Gillespie Tim Reynolds collaboration.
Wow.
Will Holland mixed and mastered it at Chill
Huge.
House. And yeah, so it's going. The whole idea with Communities Records is one artist, one song, saving one community at a time. So Tim is from Charlottesville, so he is, he's going to raise money for a housing charity in Charlottesville, one that certainly addresses the economic and, dare I say, sometimes racial gaps in the town of Charlottesville. Let's be real. It's been a hot topic town of late.
No doubt.
But yeah, so essentially that's the first. It's a few months away. The video's getting made right now, but yeah, it's a great tune too. They did an awesome job together, and so that is going to be the first big release for Communities. But what's amazing as I did it was how many other people and other musicians who are now involved, Nikki and Nate be also on the charity. Was that, people were like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Like, you have all these bands that don't have any money, didn't have any income and stuff like that. But most of the gigs that I did and most of my friends did were benefit shows for venues and stuff, and because, everyone's like, yeah, as important as whatever this could be. Yeah. Like, we don't have a place to play if this place goes under.
Seriously.
Portland lost the big one. Portland lost Port City. That was kind of the spot. The State Theater owns that room. So, it's already getting a little bit of a shakeup. There's Bayside Bowl and Portland House of Music here, which will pick up the slack, I'm sure. But yeah, so it's, that's been great to see people basically want to be a part of something bigger. And I have noticed that, and I'm hoping that continues. I hope that people are like, oh, you know what? Like, wow, it made me feel good. Honestly, one of the biggest communal moments in town was the Black Lives Matter protests in Portland. I mean, they were great, and honestly, ours were relatively not violent and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, same here in Utica.
But yeah, I mean, it was like families were out, and you saw kids soaking it up. You could see them thinking about stuff, and essentially awakening. So that was awesome to see, and I really hope that like that, like the communal stuff that we all gain from this, I hope that continues.
How about live streaming? How about live streaming? Have you been doing any live streaming? Have you been going live on your Facebook?
I did a few. I hate them. I absolutely detest them. If there's anybody hoping for another Seepeople'S live stream, I got to be honest, unless it's probably for charity, I just detest the medium. If I'm at a show, the last person I want to see is me. And so when you're doing the Facebook Live, you got to make sure your head's not, like just like I am right now, kind of like, oh, wait a second, you're off to the side and all that. So you're one person that you don't want to see is the one person you have to look at the whole damn show, So and it sounds like crap, like I know a couple people that plug in their stereos and stuff, that's great, that's awesome, but no, I don't know.
It's not for you.
Well, it's just I think with Seepeople, stuff like that, people that really get it, and I think this is true with any kind of music, any kind of band. When you go out there and play an amazing show and people love your music, yes, that's part of it. But what people really, really get from it is it's an energy transfer, and it happens in person. And when it happens, that's what people come back for. That's what they're paying for, is that energy transfer. And I'm not convinced that can happen on the medium.
It can't. Especially when you're in the middle of a song and then you finish the song and there's no applause or there's no energy. There's nothing being transferred back and forth, and that's a great statement that you made right there, because it's true. That's it.
With
Yeah,
that
just-
said, I might be announcing a live stream in any minute if I get actually desperate enough. So, you know what I mean? Don't hold me to that.
Hey, I want to back up real quick too and talk about community records. Now, is it different organizations that you guys are back in this charity record company?
So, it's communities with a Z,
Okay.
just like your name.
Beautiful.
And
Good choice.
Essentially, it's a middlewoman charity, essentially to help other charities. So it's really using, the whole idea is that people don't really pay for music so much these days, and every musician sees their, what they make off Spotify for the amount of listens. It's pretty
It's a joke.
So all told, like, and there's a great vinyl market because those people like me, I love vinyl, so I appreciate having it in my hands. But for other people, like, yeah, it's kind of like music as a commodity is less. So trying to get people to dedicate it towards a cause while still getting the music out there, but also, making them see that there's a financial value in the music as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, essentially we did a worst single. We raised money for Maine Transnet, which is a transgender charity here in Maine. So that was sort of our test single that I did with the worst. And most people paid about $10 for the song.
Oh, cool.
Which was awesome because I didn't expect that. Honestly, we had it set at $5. I was like, and I was like, oh. But no, it made sense because, like I said, I think a lot of people were just like, yeah, it makes me feel better, especially during COVID, to be like, yeah, I'm like making a difference in the world that I hope to return to when this is over, and hope it's maybe better than it was when we left it. And I do think some of those things are getting better,
Yeah, I agree. At least people are worried about their hygiene a little more.
That's right.
That's the one thing I want to see stick around after COVID. That, and I want people to stay 6 feet away from me after COVID.
Yeah. Or, I'd like to. I wonder if shows are going to be a little earlier. I will say that
I like that too.
My older age, that I seem to be always trying to push the doors a little bit earlier because I'm trying to go to bed a little bit earlier. But I do think it would help live music out a lot to get on a baseball game schedule. People are able to make it an event and go see the Yankees or Red Sox at 7:00. Then you know what? Like, go see a show at the same time. You know what I mean? So I think it'd be.
Excellent point, because I'm starting to see that here in Utica, because there's a couple places that are open, but they're only doing acoustic artists or maybe like a 3-piece or something like that. But they're starting at 7:00 and they're done by 11. I want to see that stick around too. Good point. We're getting old, Will. We're getting old. Hey, man, before we get out of here, can you plug the band? And if there's anything you want to plug, you plug it now. Here's your opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So Seepeople'S, of course, still kicking. SEE People's, one word. The worst, one word, no space. Super important, or you'll never find us ever. Sparksy is another project I'm doing right now. Please check that out. Obviously, Nth Power record. I really, really hope that I can say that this is coming out super soon. I will say I know that there's a video that's very close to being made, so I am hopeful it's been delayed more than I would have preferred. But so because it's a great record, I know the people who love that band are going to really dig it. They killed it. But yeah, that's kind of what I got going on right now. Yeah.
I'm excited to hear that, man. I can't wait to hear that album. But this has been great to catch up with you, man. I got a lot of love for you, brother. And if you got anything that you want to promote, please use my platform. That's what we're here for, to help promote and catch up with old friends and reminisce a little bit. So it's been very cool to catch up with you. And best of luck with your rehab of your back. And hopefully we get out there. Hopefully you get out there really soon, and I can see the Seepeople'S live. It was like a couple of years ago, right? Last time we saw each other.
Yeah, it's
at Funkin' Waffles.
Probably. 18,
was that when it was? 18?
19. No, I think it was actually one. Actually, that might have been one of the more recent shows. Really, I know it's so crazy to think like that, but you know what I mean. Like, when you think about it, that was probably end of 19, middle of 19. I think.
Yeah, somewhere's around there.
Waffles. Yeah. God, that seems like forever ago.
People go out and support the Seepeople'S and the
Actually.
Waters. These guys, Will, you've always put out great music, man. I've always been a fan, and you've always been a great friend, and I appreciate our friendship. So thank you so much, and keep in touch, please, and keep rocking out there, man. I'm happy to see you doing all these projects and doing all these great things with people. So keep it up.
Ditto. Keep playing the bass.
Yeah, actually, I kind of gave. Well, I haven't given up, but I've been playing a little bit here and there. But
I saw a music post a year ago. You did something at least within a year.
A year ago,
recent-ish. You know.
I've been stuck in podcast land. Actually, I've been really absorbing myself in this world more so than the music side of things. But it happens, you know. But I'll definitely get back to it. It's part of my DNA, you know.
Yeah, I think the next show that you should do a poll on how many people within 100 miles of Utica have a Utica club tattoo. You know, realistically, get an accurate. I would guess probably in the hundreds. Realistically, if you were
I was
going
to say the thousands.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you get call-in show. Do you have call-in abilities there?
We'll give away beer mugs for every UC tattoo, right?
Right. I mean, that would be the biggest promotion, and you get another big tattoo, of course. You know what I mean? But yeah, it would be huge.
It would be huge, man. Well, hopefully soon when this Corona coaster's over, we can hang out, and I can to see your fantastic bands and get together and just be boys.
Yeah, Saranac tattoos as well. I haven't had a Saranac in a little bit. Another sponsor, so I will definitely. It's been a hot minute.
Yes. Thank you to Saranac. Thank you to Utica Coffee, my attorney Dave Longretta, EJA Moving Services, and Joey's at 307. Next time you come to town, I got to take you to dinner at Joey's. You'll love it over there, man. It's like authentic Italian. It's awesome. You'll love it. You'll love it. Good stuff. Will, thanks for hanging with me today, man. It was a lot of fun catching up with you. And everybody out there in Facebook land, if you could do us a favor and click the share button, help spread the word of the Seepeople'S, the worst, and, of course, what we're doing here at Disruption Network. Will, you're the man. Everybody, thanks for watching, and I will see you again. Am I around tomorrow? What's today? I don't even know what day it is anymore. I'll be back tomorrow with the Uncle Louie Variety Show. Today's Friday? No, it's Wednesday. Don't see, you're confusing me. I'm out. Later.